What time is it? Time for you to like and subscribe. And this is another episode of Got Time with Christopher John, your scholar and gentleman in a hoodie. This episode is in honor of my parents. My father was born and raised in Mississippi during segregation. Although his journey was far from easy, he stayed dressed to the nines, heading to the factory. Outside of the overalls he wore for work, my father was always sharp. Slacks, button-down shirt, tie, and a sports coat. With his 8th grade education, he would tell me day after day, "Son, you're a scholar and a gentleman." He had a vision for me that I couldn't see that would become a reality. My mother was born and raised in Jamaica, where she started sewing as a teen. She wanted to make dresses that reflected her own style. After moving to the States, she continued her passion for fashion, making prom dresses, pageant dresses, and evening gowns for friends and family. She even made my wife's wedding dress. She taught me how to do a little something with needle and thread as well. This is one of her sewing thimbles. I hold on to it and keep it with me. I grew up immersed in fashion and culture with 2 different yet brilliant examples of fashion. Respectively, my parents told their own stories and expressed themselves through their clothes, through their garments. Joining me is a remarkable storyteller and filmmaker who continues to bridge the gap between African and African American cultures through various projects. He has been the lead organizer for the Sapologie Walk in Cincinnati, a cultural movement where Congolese elegance comes to America. A sophisticated experience with great similarity to Dandyism. It is a celebration of style, community, cultural pride, and authentic storytelling. Mr. Vanny Wmamba, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Now, we were talking that you are from a mining city in the Congo.
That's correct.
Is that correct? And then in our conversations, you said there's a connection with technology, cell phones, correct? Could you explain that too?
Yes. So Congo has a deep reservoir of rare earth minerals. Mm. And majority of the cell phone has them. So there is a likelihood that in your cell phone right now, you are carrying Congo soil from my land. So 90% of the batteries contain some of the earth from Congo. So Congo is on everybody's pocket.
Wow. So you trying to tell me it's a little bit like Wakanda, huh? There's all the technologies coming out of there, the vibranium almost. That's a real thing.
It is real things. Wow. And also, even we can take a step back historically, the Hiroshima uranium that was used to bomb Japan.
Yes.
Majority was from Congo.
Wow.
It was mining there. So Congo, in some extent, plays a background story to some of the technological advancements and also historical advancement. But our story is a little bit buried, same as our minerals.
Wow. That's a powerful, just to have knowledge of, what's coming out of the soil there that's in Africa and the importance of where you come from. And so you have brought this wonderful experience to Cincinnati, Sapologie. Can you talk a little bit about the history of the Sapologie Walk?
Yeah, so Sapologie started after World War II. So there was a Congolese, a lot of African soldiers that went to help the French to fight against Germany at the time. So post D-Days, where the war is over, everybody have to return home. So some of the Congolese soldiers from Congo Kinshasa and Congo Brazzaville. So we are neighbor country, and we are the closest capital in the world. So after the war, they was pay, and you know what people do in Paris, so they go shopping. So they went shopping to buy some of the fly suits, and when they return home, you know, you got all these fly suits. We're like, where the party at?
Right, right.
So there weren't enough parties to go to a reason to rock your suit. So they take matter in their home hands. They start this movement where instead of waiting to be invited, we're just gonna rock our suit and just go to different bars and walk at different bar. And hence the Sapologie movement was created. But deeper than that, post the colonial era, wearing a suit, it was reserved to nobility. So it was only the colonial guys who used to wear a suit. So there was sort of a vendetta that the Congolese, like, we can rock the suit better than you. So Sapologie movement, it was a full display of like, yeah, we can rock this better than you. So it was a sense of gaining that dignity back.
Right, right.
And by showcase that he was holding us back. But here we are. So Sapologie was that.
Wow. And when you talk about that, it makes me think about my father working a factory job, and but every time he would leave the house, he was dressed. He didn't wear jeans. He wore slacks, button-down shirts, and it's almost like he was dressing like he was going out somewhere, but he was just leaving his house to go to work. And so that made me think about that. But, you know, it's almost with him being a country boy out of Mississippi, it's almost like he instilled pride in the way that he presented himself.
I think it's the same goal in Congo, because majority of the people that wear, sometimes they used to work as a maid at the colonial master house. So their work wasn't dignified enough. So they have to like find a way to express their dignity through clothes. So it was almost like juxtapose of like, okay, maybe sometimes he was a trash picker guy. It's like, okay, on the daytime, I pick trash, but catch me at night. You will never know what I do. So there was a sense of pride, the sense of like, I'm now what I do, but this is who I am.
Wow, a sense of pride, absolutely. Yeah. So you're doing this, and how long have you been doing these walks here in Cincinnati? Well, this kind of, I know you do all kinds of walks that you do here in the city, but how long have you been doing the Sapologie Walk?
Yeah, Sapologie we started a year and a half ago. And prior to that, so I run Urban Hikers, which is the same philosophy, but it's less dressy. It's more of a comfort and city explorations. And I think a year and a half ago, Chris Bradley, I would say a brother from here, he reached out to me. It was like, hey, I would like to let's put an event together. And not knowingly that this is always lurking on the background of, in my mind, it was like, let's put an event together where we dressed up and walk. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So he just typed it into, yes.
But did he already know about
No.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't know about the Sapologie. And as soon as he said, I'm like, Sapologie. So he just clicked it, and to build into a culture base that already existed. So it was like no-brainer for both of us. And it was even more powerful because him coming from here, and it was sort of an anchor for me for the both culture to collide. So I don't think it could be as powerful as it is if it wasn't an initiative that is born from both sides.
Right, absolutely. So you do these walks, and there is this component of storytelling.
That's correct.
Can you tell how that's converged into these walks, and how does storytelling come about?
Yeah, so something about dressing up. There's an element of dressing up and mental health, right? So when you're on your low states of your mental health, the first thing is you let yourself go. Right. You're now putting your best face on, and understanding those dynamic. And if we invite all of us, invite all these brothers to come together, then like if you come in your best self, meaning you already won the fight of the, you put yourself together to show up, and that is sort of the anchor and the exchange, because we don't have a script, and there's an opening. Let's be honest, for a lot of men of us, it's rarely we do things together. It's not culturally, rarely. Yes.
I would say do things together that are outside of the sports.
That's correct. Yes. There's not any outside force that entertain us. It's us engaging with one another. It's us exchanging wisdom. So, and that was, for me, was like the anchor, the storytelling part that come together, where we exchange story so we can move forward. So culturally speaking, some of the people I've worked with, they live full life. And you can only imagine what take place as we're just curious about one person's story. Some of the elders that come to the walk, and I think it's extremely fulfilling in that extent. So, yeah.
Wow. So this is exchange of conversations, and you were saying that there's a gentleman that attended the walk, and you said something that was very powerful about that he doesn't dress up. Or could you share that story?
Yeah. So there's one gentleman, he say he only dress up when you go to a funeral. So for him, dressing up is always maybe a mourning or a celebration of death. And this is a celebration of life and brotherhood. So, and when he came, for him, as we walking in a city, there was a couple of young people that used to mentor who just stop in the middle of the road to hype him up. He said, "We never seen you this way."
Wow.
And it was such a powerful moment. It was like, there was a lesson that is instilled in them, right in them. It's like, yeah, I can pull this off too. So having the opportunity to dress up, where it's not to mourning somebody's death, but it's to be your best self and share your wisdom. For me, it was extremely powerful story for me to engage.
That is a powerful story. So my question is, I mean, you've been doing this walk here for a year and a half. Are you aware of these walks taking place in any other major cities, to your knowledge?
Not as intentionally as we curated. So 15 years ago, there's three of my friends from here, one from Ethiopia and one from here in Tears. We used to spend time at the hookah bar in Clifton.
Right.
And we thought that was an unhealthy way. We used to talk about politics, life, philosophy, because we love reading. After a while, we're like, this is not a healthy way to spend time. So why don't we just go for a walk? And that sort of started this movement of urban hikers.
Right.
So it was a way for us to share our wisdom and what we were reading. And so it was an intention of sharing insight. After a while, we dropped the book to invite our community to join us. Right. And which is 15 years down the road, morphed to even this movement, Sapologie, which is targeting men and dressing up in the street. So the same philosophy, but just different dress code.
Right. You said a book.
Yes.
You did a book, and there's also a documentary, correct?
Yes. So 5 years after we started, I have to say this. So coming from Congo, and when you uproot yourself in your culture, come to a new culture, there's how you find your sense of belonging. You want to feel at home if this is a new place. And there's not a lot of tools available to feel at home. How you break through cultural tension, how you break through unfamiliarity. So walking has been the tools for me. I find that it was extremely powerful because for one is, if you walk the same street 3 or 5 times, after a while you feel more comfortable that way. So I did find that the more places I walk, the more I've extended my comfort level. So 5 years down the road, we walk in every neighborhood in Cincinnati. We wanted to invite our community, but the word wasn't get out enough. Mm-hmm. So hence, we decided to do a documentary. And so the documentary was based on culture as well. So we decided to walk from Harper's Ferry to DC. And
did you say to where? To
DC, Washington, DC.
Wow, okay.
Yes, right. Harper's Ferry to Washington, DC. And what's the relationship between the two places? If you go back historically, we start where John Brown, the armory, yes, where John Brown was captured. And we walk all the way to to DC, to the African American Museum. John Brown represents sort of the start of liberations.
Yeah, the resistance.
The resistance.
Resistance towards the slavery. Yes.
That's correct. And the museum is sort of a collection of what is when free people are contributing to the culture. Mm-hmm. So the walk was sort of a celebration of where the resistance started and to where is some of the artifacts of the resistance, of the contribution the African American culture has made to culture collectively. So it was sort of that journey through time and space.
I'm truly impressed by how you're able to weave in mental health, physical health, history, culture, all in one type of experience. And then also, to be quite honest, now the next step of what you're doing with these walks is fashion, And so you're integrating that as well. And it's you're telling a story, but there's also the sharing of stories when you talk about the brotherhood and the camaraderie that's taking place. And I think this is something that definitely a lot of Black men, especially in our communities, could model and join you and so forth. And let me ask this: so I believe you always have a sign up, right, for these types of walks. And so if my listeners and viewers, if they feel compelled to want to join and to be a part of a walk, how can that happen?
Yes, so we do have called SapologieCincy.com, a website, and where we usually post our upcoming events. And I was also Sapologie Cincy on Instagram. So our next event coming up in November 22nd, and we would love to invite anyone that love fashions, that love brotherhood, that love the city, and it's a celebration of yourself. It's also a contribution toward the collective well-being. And sometimes I love celebrating. Right. I know there's a lot of reason to fight. There's a lot of reason to struggle. But there's also a lot of reason to celebrate life.
I agree with you. We must celebrate. The one thing that I don't think there's enough conversation is the conversation between African-born Black folks, I'm going to frame it in this way, and American-born, and this dynamic between a perspective of Blackness and nationality. Because I know that, many of our brothers and sisters from the continent of Africa,
yes, sir.
You will say, I'm Congolese,
yes,
I'm Nigerian.
That's correct.
We're here in the States, it's black or white, and then there's bring these connotations, and sometimes I've heard the conversations that either there's not enough opportunities to have conversations with one another, though we share the same melanin and whatnot. Could you speak to that perspective?
Yeah, so just the film itself It was also an educational portal for me, because one of the brothers from here, Ture, the film is me and him arguing about our culture. So, what's the immigrant story and an African American story? The immigrant story is an individual story, and the African American story is a collective story. So when I used to argue with him, and I will blame him about something, he would say we. If I say you, but he always say, "Oh, you think we." So I say I. Yes. Because the way I see is an individual story. So when my father came here, there was also a lot of element. When my father came here 27 years ago, he met my stepmother. She's from Madisonville, and they met in Congo. 5 years down the road, my father came here, got married. 4 years later, it's me and my brother, we came. And my father experience when he first got here is, I think, the first 2 hours. So he arrived to the apartment complex, settled, and I think there was a 2 doors down. There was somebody got shot at the door. It just came from Africa, right? So imagine, traumatized. So the cops flooded in the apartment complex. There was knocking on every door. Did you see something? So that is the framework of his early experience when he emerged into the culture. So he was traumatized. So when we first got here, he did pass it on those trauma. So he identified his trauma based on people. It's like, because I was in this community, this almost happened to me. So the first thing he did is he moved to the suburbs somewhere.
Okay.
For him, it was like, this is a safer place. So he sort of instilled for us about opportunities based on proximity to this type of people. So, and that's sort of the framework I was brought up into. When I first met T, now my brother is from Winters, the first thing he told me is, I can see the bigotry in your eyes. Jokingly so. And I never thought so much about it, because it's a settle. It was sort of as a settle way for us, because I was primed to see my brother here, that being their proximity, meaning less opportunity. Trying to be on the other proximity, it's like, this is where the opportunity is. So and I think it's a common thing for majority of the immigrants, because when they come individualistic, they're primed by seeking for opportunity. So now you have to make a choice in some extent. Like, do you look the bigger story, or do you want to be an individual to seek for what can feed your belly in some extent?
Right.
So that's sort of I think usually most Africans, most immigrants are coming with those. They have some sort of underlying choice, quote unquote. I feel like you joined your brothers, or do you seek opportunity away from your brothers?
Wow. It's almost like, are you seeking community?
That's correct.
Or are you seeking opportunity?
That's correct. Yes, that is, and that's why majority of immigrant African, especially, I'll say, they're now integrating in the community because they spend most of the time seeking for opportunity. My work is so ingrained in the community, and which is explain my proximity to the community, and so that is sort of the underlying force that usually driving a lot of decisions, and subconsciously and consciously, to the difference between the African side and their integration to the overall community of Black here.
Right. Well, I just want to applaud you for seeking community and bringing, adding to the community with your presence, with your knowledge, introducing us to, this culture and this dynamic that's coming from the Congo, and sharing that with the community, I think is just so powerful.
Thank you.
And so definitely want to applaud you for doing that. And so I want to ask you this question. What brings you joy and peace? I mean, Vanny, for you is like, beyond the walks and the community, this is a personal question. What brings you joy and peace?
High culture. And I'm also intellectually curious. Things that can allow me to see beyond the scope of my limitations. So family. And I like to explore cities. Yes, just a good vibe.
Right. The curiosity, I think, is so important. I'm the same way, and I think that's how we connected.
That's correct. Yes.
Because I come from a background to where a blending of country down south, Mississippi, and West Indian culture, as far as from my mother from Jamaica. So I was introduced to, within my nuclear family, I just had richness, a mosaic of black culture, one dealing, with the islands and one coming from down south. And so I'm naturally curious. And I think it's that curiosity. I wish that more people had curiosity, because what you do is you come to the table to learn. That's correct. And not to prove a point. You come to learn and you come to share. That's why curiosity is so, so important.
That's correct. And I to mention, we go way back. I remember when we was discussing to have our film being screened at the Freedom Center.
Yes.
And you and I was negotiating about the fees. After we finished, and I was telling him, that brother's a revolutionary. Yes, I would say I felt there was a depth of understanding, and the way you driven the process. It was unsettled, but it was a gentleman. It was so as a gentleman, like I did appreciate the way, because it was our first big screen because the Freedom Center for us represents sort of an anchor inside our community. So we went on this journey, captured this content. So how do we bring to the city? And that was for us. You are sort of the gatekeeper at the time, and you opening that door for us, and there we are with this screen there. Right. So I would like to say thank you for that as well.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. It was my pleasure. And that's been many years now past, and you continue to do this work. And I just want to appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to sit down here at the table and just to share with me, to my listeners and viewers as well. It's been great. Much appreciation to you. And we'll be sure to make sure now how people want to join this walk. The next one is November 22nd.
Yes.
And what's the information once again, how they can get connected?
SapologieCincy.com.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Much appreciation and love to you, brother.
Thank you, Chris.
Joining me is the visionary CEO and designer behind Me by Lee Custom Designs, a fashion brand where storytelling, sustainability, and inclusiveness take center stage. Her work has graced TV and film productions featured on Amazon Prime, Tubi, and more, while her luxe and long full-figured fashion line redefines couture for everybody. She is also the program director for the MAC Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to connecting fashion, entrepreneurship, and economic development in the Midwest. I first met this beautiful woman on the set of inaugural Black History Honors in 2022, where she had to make me look really, really good for the camera. And I've been connected with her since then. Miss Alishia Lee, thank you for joining me.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. That was a lovely introduction. That was great.
Well, I try. I had to make sure I get it right for you. It is a pleasure because you are a rock star.
Thank you.
So definitely. Now, your name, you have this outstanding story about your name because I wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly.
Yes.
But you shared something with me. If you could just share about your name, that's very, very, I think is fascinating.
It's so awful. I will make this long story very, very short. So I've been calling myself, what I've known to call myself was Alishia Lee my entire existence. I took my mom to Mexico for a birthday and it was all-inclusive. Mm-hmm. And my mom's not a drinker, but this is an all-inclusive resort. So she leaned in. I'll be nice. She leaned in. And we were in the hot tub and the bartender came over and said, Señorita Alishia, cervezas. And my mother, we speak a little Spanish. So she says, actually, her name is Alishia. And the record skipped in my head. I said, okay, I'm going to ask you again about this when we're sober. So at dinner, I asked her, I said, so Mom, what's my name? And she giggled and laughed. She says, oh yeah, it's Alishia. It's pronounced that way. That's what I wanted it to be. And I said, so why don't I know that until now? She says, well, everybody said it wrong anyway, so I just went with it. I said, this is your God-given right to correct people as a mother. You could have been correcting people my whole life because I've been correcting people the opposite, saying that it's not Alishia, it's Alishia. So yeah, so my actual pronunciation is Alishia, but I don't.
So what you need to do first of all is all the people that's been calling your name correctly that you chastise, you need to offer them an apology.
I do.
And so when we promote this, it will say, Alishia has apologized.
Yes. On behalf of my mother, I offer an apology for everyone that I've corrected since kindergarten.
Wow, but it's amazing. Talk about names. I know my youngest daughter, they want to call her Janessa, and her name is Janisa. Mm-hmm. And we tell her, no, correct them.
Yes.
Do
that.
Correct them. So you don't have something like good and adult.
Yes.
Having a fun trip with your mother.
And find out the truth.
With drinks, and you find out that your name is not quite what you thought it was.
Yeah. Correct your people that mispronounce your children's names. Teach them what their name actually is and what it means. So
is there a meaning for your name?
A light.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Light.
Yes.
And you are a fashion designer.
I am.
Bringing light to garments.
Yes. And to hopefully to people in general.
In culture. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So can you unpack your journey into fashion? How have you evolved into being the designer that you are?
Yes. To put it in a kind of linear, I've always been a creator. My mother allowed me to paint, draw, create. She taught me how to hand sew, to crochet. In recent times, I found out that my great-grandmother was a seamstress of Shillitoes. I have band members in my family from past days, people that my grandmother made my aunts and uncles clothes, but I didn't learn from her. I was self-taught. So did that in the background, would cut stuff up, sew it to my clothes as a kid. My mom would always let me just destroy whatever.
So you wasn't measuring anything. You were just eyeballing it and cutting it?
Just eyeballing, cutting it. There's a picture that I'll have to send to you where there's a shirt that was too small for me. And I really liked this lace doily my mom had. And she let me cut it up and I put the lace on top of the sleeve so it would be a little longer. And that was for our family pictures.
Oh, so you had a garden trail then?
I did have a garden trail. It was a little neater. It was a little neater than the garden trail because it was hand sewed. So it was just pieces of lace that I had put on because I'm a girly girl. And but that was always kind of simmering in the background. Go to school, I did plays and film and TV in young adulthood and early adolescence. And I would do the wardrobe. I would always make sure my character was on point for whatever story I was telling. And then my producer or my director would say, can you do that for more of the cast? And so in these projects I was in, they would say, okay, well could you also do wardrobe? Sure. Absolutely.
And this is in high school? Or
this is young adulthood, early 20s. I would do plays and shows, and they would be like, yeah, can you also dress the cast? Mm-hmm. And sure, would love to, because I'm acting. I want everybody to look good on set. Right. And it came to a point where I couldn't find what I was looking for. I couldn't thrift it. People didn't have it. And so I was like, I guess I'll make something. And Bernard S. Fields, he's a fantastic producer and filmmaker here in the city. He asked me to make a superhero costume for him for his movie Super Just Super. And I had never made a superhero costume. And this was all happening in kind of running congruent with my professional life. And I made that garment and it was like, oh, okay, I think I'm doing something for real now. But I still was too nervous to do it, full-fledged. Around that same time, my company threw a big party and I ordered a dress. All the girls were, chattering about the dresses they made. And one young lady said, I got the same dress. Oh my God, I'm ordering the same dress that you just bought. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not gonna wear it. They said I was bullying her. I'm like, I'm not bullying her. It is dibs. It's girl rule. It's dibs. I wanted to wear this red. It was a one sleeve white dress. It was a beautiful dress. Mm-hmm. And I was so freaked out that she might wear it too, that I brought scissors in my bag the night of the event to cut either the sleeve off or to cut a slit in it.
To cut yours or hers?
To mine.
Okay, I just want to clarify. All right.
No violence. I said, because if she's so bold to wear the same thing in here, I need to alter mine so it doesn't look the same. Because that to me just was mortifying. And as this is all happening in my life, I'm like, there is a gap here where we just spent an hour as women talking about how excited we were to wear these outfits to this company party. And I was so shooken up by somebody wearing the same thing that I was, but everybody else was super happy about it. Like, oh, that would be so cute. You guys be twinning. And I'm like, never, ever would I want to do that. And then it made me think about like my family, my history. My mom would glue puffballs to my outfit so that my outfit would stand out. She would put my name in my sleeve. So if I got lost, they knew it came back to me.
Oh, so this was instilled in
Yes, but I didn't realize it until I'm having these existential crises before company events. And that's kind of how Me by Lee was born, because I said people want to celebrate their individuality. It might not be the group of people that I'm in right now, but across the board, you're not like everybody. So my mom would say that to me, you're not like everybody, so don't try to be like everybody. And that's why my slogan was, you're not everybody, so don't dress like it. Because we spend so much time curating our personal image that how dare you, lessen what God created by trying to fit in with all these different trends. So Me by Lee was born into, let's do something different. And from there, it's kind of been, steam train as people have come alongside me and be like, yeah, I don't want to wear what everybody else has. I don't want to look like everyone else. And it's branched into 3 different brands. And I still do film and TV, but now I get to either do wardrobe, like how I met you, or I get to, be on front of the stage. So yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Wow. And when you tell your story, I think about my mother, because she, as a teen, she did not like none of the dresses that my grandmother, her mother, had selected for her. And my great grandmother, we called her Aunt Amy, she would say, they called my mother Bubbles. Bubbles! She would throw some garment fabric to her and said, make your own. And that's what she did as a teen. She would make her own dresses. And she continued to do that, And so it's like I grew up, around a sewing machine with needle and thread, thimbles and all this, and she even went on to do where she was doing small packages, like for camera bags.
Oh, wow.
She was even showing those types of things as well as she navigated through fashion into even garment bags and things of that nature. So
that's really cool.
But that story about creating something that's by you, for you, I think is a very powerful approach. And not everyone embraces that, though.
No, not everybody does. If you look at fast fashion, which is my nemesis, you can get something that was made in a warehouse across the world for $10 when and everybody else will have one. It's millions of them made, thousands of them made. And then on my side of things, I can't charge $10 for what I make because it spent me days, weeks. I selected the fabric. There's not one of 50. It's one of one or maybe one of 2. And that level of individuality sometimes I feel like is lost right now.
Right. Absolutely. And so, this speaks a little bit about your inspiration. So, so what inspires you from a design? Where do you get your inspirations for a lot of the creations that you come about? What do you go to? I guess, is it just coming out of divine intervention, or what is it that sparks the creativity for you?
Yeah, it's my, I'll say that I have to give glory to God, because he gave me my gifts and made plenty of room for them. So I'm still finding new opportunities even today that I'm like, well, y'all want me to come do what? Sure. Yes, I'll do it. Really, it's the what if. Like, I have a really curious personality, and it's always been since a kid. Like, if I break it, what's it gonna be if I break it?
That also gets you in a lot of trouble,
yes,
too.
And at some point, my mom just stopped spanking me because of it. She's like, she's gonna fix it. She's gonna break it, and then, you know what? Break this stuff. That you can break everything over here. Don't break nothing over here. But yeah, the what if. You know, I love patterns, prints, textiles, and I paint. I used to paint as well, and I used to teach painting. And if you look at some of my work, I don't see the things that I see that I make anywhere else. And that's kind of, it comes from my head. It comes from God. It comes from like, what if I just take the back off of it? What if it's a blazer without a back? What if it's a full figured gown with pants attached to it? Because some girlies want to wear a dress and a pants at the same time. So it's how can I create these like these crazy designs? Can I get them out of my head and into real life? And I'll see them. Like I sketch a little bit, but more so I'll see them. And I'll think about them. Sometimes they'll wake me up out of dreams. Like I'll be like, you know what? I just saw like 15 designs in my head. I need to make sure I scribble them down and write them down by my bed. And then I'll go into the studio and I'm like, okay. Or I'll go shopping for fabric and I'll see the fabric and I'm like, oh my gosh. I think of a whole collection based off of just how fabric looks. So I'm inspired by all kinds of things: art, movies, music, just living.
Do you find that your designs are telling a story?
Absolutely. If you look at my collections, storytelling is like, and that's why I mentioned earlier, my love of film and fashion are like, they're inseparable. Like storytelling, I write, I've directed shows, and it's always about storytelling. How can we get this across? If you look at a character, like I think about Sinners, Ryan Coogler knew what he was doing in Sinners. When that opening shot, when there's...
You're talking about Ruth E. Carter.
Yes, but even choosing Ruth E. Carter, yes. Yeah. And I've got to work kind of around her in some capacities with the Black Design Collective, and I'm forever broken. My brain is forever broken. But he, as a director, you have to choose the people on your team that can help you tell your story. He had the story, but when she dressed them in those suits, it said so much to them without them saying a word.
I was watching the other day, someone did a video. They were breaking down the suits, how one suit was connected to the Irish gangs. Yep. One was connected to the Italian. The style of the suits, the colors, it was very deliberate. And I was amazed by how much detail went into just how they would appear. Yes, it's all, that storytelling is so intricate, and that's why she's won awards. That's why she is so sought after, because how crazy is it? And now, mind you, the person watching it just sees two dudes in a really cool suit, or one guy split in two, but thinking about their experiences in Chicago. How one was connected to the Irish and one was connected to the Italian. How the financial, how one is more expensive than the other. One brother's more flashy than the other. So it tells you so much just from a suit and a hat. Yeah. So storytelling is like entrenched in fashion. Whether you're saying, what we're wearing today tells a story. And when you're walking down the street, you see people. Even if you see somebody that's not having the best day, how they're dressed kind of will reflect that sometimes. That's why they say you want to look good, you feel good. When you put on an extra nice suit and you get your hair cut, you walk, your shoulders are back, you walk a little different, and that's all a part of our story. And that's what Vanny was talking about. It provides a resource for mental health.
Yes.
Because you feel better about yourself because of your appearance and how you're dressed.
Absolutely. I think that's why people get so addicted to fashion shows, because you're sitting in the crowd watching these beautiful humans glide past you, because models don't walk, they kind of just glide. They glide past you in this otherworldly art, and it's like, whoa, this is wearable art. And no matter how I felt when I came in here, I want to get a part of this. So that's why fashion is so important.
Well, I would say you're not only a part of it, but you're also illuminating and redefining what it means to what beauty or what is appealing is, because you create styles for all shapes and sizes.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about, you being intentional about that.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to always see myself on the runway. And growing up, my mother was very, very cautious about what she let us ingest. I didn't see a lot of, things were inappropriate for myself as a kid. But one thing that I always saw was like, there are all these women that are beautiful and I want to be like these women, but none of them are brown. None of them are full figure. And I was a real skinny, stick and ball looking kid for a long time. And after I had my kids, I filled out and I found myself going to stores where I'm like, I can't, all the stuff that I would want to wear doesn't come in my fit or my size. So when I started to make clothes, I would get cast all these really petite models. And I would ask the casting director, where are the full figure models? Like, oh, we don't have any. And I said, well, then I'm going to go find some and I'm going to bring some with me. And they would just kind of look at me like, what? Okay. And I would go find models that were full figured. And I'm like, can I hire you for this shoot? Or can I hire you for this show? Or when I was able to cast my own models, I'd say, I'm going to cast who I want to bring. And I was surprised that people weren't pushing back on that. They weren't pushing back. And I decided very early in my design career that if I couldn't dress everybody, I wouldn't dress anybody. And you can see that in all my work, no matter the level. I've been to, to Ghana, Paris, and I want to make sure that people in the audience see themselves on that runway in shade, in color, in gender, in creed, and all of those things. So that's part of my story, because fashion isn't cyclical. Fashion isn't one size fits all. Right. And I want to make sure that I reflect that in my brand.
You talk about how fashion has taken you places. I think recently, a few weeks ago, you were somewhere. I think I saw on your socials. Where were you at?
I was in Japan.
You were in Japan.
That was for respite. That was for recharging.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I take a trip out of the country every year. And last year it was Ghana, and I showed a 12-piece collection at Accra Fashion Week. But this year I said, you know what? Something on the east side of the world was calling me. So I went to Japan and spent 9 days in Tokyo and in Chiba and Narita, and it was.
Did you get any ideas fashion wise?
I did, and it was interesting being. I'm considered full figure in the U.S. and going over to Japan and seeing that some things went from small to medium. There were no large clothes. You had to go to specialty stores for anything that was large.
Wow.
Yes. So that was an eye-opener too. And I was like, well, here the supply and demand is not really for, what American sizes. And I had to kind of chuck it up.
Well, that kind of explains it sometimes when you go to some of these, I have daughters, they like to go to Shein and all that, but or whatever may be the I guess company. And you order what you think is your size. Yeah. And then when it appears, it's like, this fits a little bit more snug than this large doesn't fit like this large. And I think that probably speaks a lot of it. If you're talking about you're going to some of these countries, they don't carry, they go to a certain size.
That's true. And standard sizing is not standard. So there's a little bit of a history lesson, but standard sizing didn't show up until the Civil War. So small, medium, large wasn't a thing. It was people going to tailors, people going to seamstresses, getting things baked to fit their specific body. When the Civil War happened, they had to dress soldiers and nurses and everybody that was supporting them, and they didn't have time to measure everybody. So that's where standard sizing came from. So yes, and it was based off of a white man and a white woman's general frame, the average size of a white man and the average size of a white woman. That's why you cannot go into a store and get something that's an extra large and it fit you based on your measurements. It was never based off of African American bodies. Right. So the clothes that typically are in the stores today, that's another reason why I do full figure, because the average sizing is not average for everybody. It's average for Caucasian Americans.
Wow. Now, see, it's you bring in a history lesson. So you said World War
Civil War.
Civil War. Oh,
Civil War. Mm-hmm.
Civil War.
Yes.
Wow. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Didn't know that at all.
They needed uniforms, and they needed to get people in them. So it wasn't, you can measure hundreds of people, thousands of people. You had to say, okay, you're about a small, you're a medium, you're a large. That's what we're gonna call it.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, not only are you a fashion designer, you talked about your acting, but you're also a model too.
Oh yeah, sometimes.
And so, how is that side of it? I mean, you're almost like the Tyler Perry of fashion a little bit.
That's
I mean,
so funny.
you're doing everything. You're behind the scenes. You're behind you're doing the sewing. You're creating the fashions, the designs, and hey, if need be, you'll get on the runway as well, or you get in front of the camera.
Yeah, that really just came from necessity. It was interesting when I would make something and I was sampling it out, testing it out, and I didn't have models. I'm like, well, I guess I got to put it on. And then also for my brand, when I got started, I didn't know much about, finding models to wear your clothes. I'm thinking like, I made it, people are going to buy it because it's mine. And they're supporting me. And that kind of kept it going. And so like when COVID happened and I couldn't, have a model come to my house, I would put my stuff on and I would take pictures and it would sell. And so from then people were like, hey, I want to shoot with you. Okay. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to market myself. I'm going to market my clothes. So people ask, oh, Alishia, what you wearing? I could say, it's mine. It's me. It's me by Lee. And that's kind of how it came to be. And then from there, people would say, well, you want to come model? Or I'd love to shoot with you. Or to help promote myself as a designer, I would do fashion. I would do photo shoots to help push the brand.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know that when I went to go visit you and I asked you this question about when was it that it clicked for you, like, yes, this is where I need to be in doing this. And you showed me the one dress that that I believe you still continue to use in some of your fashion shows.
I still have it. Yes, she's in retirement right now, but I've got she's still out there. Yeah, that was Adam Delane. He's a fantastic photographer and businessman. He does a street meet, Cincinnati street meet, where it's a big community. It's free to come. He pays a permit to block off a street and has models, photographers, videographers come and just shoot content. And it was my first one ever. I had saw it and heard about it, but I was like, I ain't going to there. I ain't model. I'm not a designer. I'm just like pictures. But this was my first year designing officially. And I said, you know what? I want to do, Black Panther had came out.
Okay.
And I said, okay, if I'm going to do a street meet, I need it to be like if Wakanda met Disney, because my nickname in my family is like, they call me Disney Princess. They said, if you open a window, a bird's going to land on your finger, because I'm just, that's what they think of me. But I said, if Wakanda and Disney were to converge, it'd be some pretty badass Disney princesses outfits coming out of there. So I developed a design for my sister, her best friend, and myself, and we went to street meet, and that's where that picture was taken. But she had this, I did a big, and everything was African fabric. So everything was African fabric. And it was like Sadia Mingo did the makeup. And she had like a snake design, because mine was an orange snake. She had a snake, like scales that she did with makeup over my face. My sister had feathers. So she was like a bird. And she put feathers and like took her eyebrows out and like had feathers over her eyebrows. It was so theatrical, so fun. And that's also when I fell in love with theatrical shoots. It became like, okay, I need to do at least one or two a year to really bend it. Because you see, people that aren't of people of color doing kind of fun, crazy things, but there wasn't enough of us doing that. So yeah,
that's outstanding. So I usually ask this question. I want, if you could have a conversation with an ancestor to continue your inspiration and what you're doing. That could be someone famous, someone personal to you, whatever the case may be. Who would that be and why?
So I lost my grandmother this year in February. She decided to go on home and leave us to fend for ourselves, and we're doing okay. She was one of the fanciest women I've ever known. And my mother gifted me some of her and my great aunts and uncles and great grandparents' furs. So they're fur coats, and they were actual real fur. But my grandmother would have a face on and an outfit to go anywhere. We should be checking the mail, and that woman will be bad to check the mail. I'm like, you were walking 14 steps. And one thing that she would always tell me, she was like, you are going to be on the red carpet one day. And she got to see me on the red carpet before she passed, thank God. But I would go back to her younger her. I would want to see younger her when she was dressing my mom and dressing my aunts and dressing my uncles. And I would want to see and talk to her about like what inspired her to do that. Was it necessity? Was it a gift? Was it she didn't like what was in the stores? And I would want to know how she would want to be dressed. Like if she could just make her own clothes and it wasn't for her kids, like what would she want to wear? And I would want to make a collection that would like inspire me to do that. And I have some of her clothes. When she passed, my aunt gave me a lot of her clothes. And I do have plans to make, updated versions of some of the things she wore.
So you do this, I call it reconstructing fits, but you corrected me. You call it what again?
Redesign.
Yes. Redesign.
Yes.
And so explain what that is.
So redesign. So most people think that upcycling is like you take like the vest you have on and you cut the hood off and now it's a dress. Some people, that's upcycling. Okay. Redesign, if I was to take that same vest and make a hat, pair of pants, and a crop top out of it. So I'm taking the fabric itself, I'm completely deconstructing it or redesigning it. So if it's say a suit that you had and you loved, but you know what, it's not, you don't love it anymore, you've had your fun with it. I've even cut suits down the middle to make a women's outfit. So it's a crop top and like a skirt. So redesign is you take something that is, and it also is sustainable because it saves things from getting thrown away and saves things from getting in the landfill, but it's giving it new life.
Well, this is what I'm going to ask of you.
Oh gosh.
And I forgot to bring it, but I'm going to make sure it gets. I have a bomber jacket. It's a lightweight bomber jacket.
Okay.
I've never worn it. So I changed my lifestyle as far as just for health reasons.
Yeah.
So I lost a considerable amount of weight. It is too big and I've never worn it.
Okay.
And so I would like for you to redefine it, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
For that, and basically I would like to post that on my platform or whatever, whatnot. So it's a challenge to you.
Okay.
It's a bomber jacket. It's real smooth. It has these gold flecks on the sleeves.
Oh, sounds nasty good.
Yeah. And so, I would like to, if I come to your studio, need be, I'm assuming I would have to, and whatnot. But you up for that challenge?
Yeah. So you don't want it taken in so you can wear it. You want it made into something completely different. Because if you want it taken in, that's just altering it.
Well, this is the thing. It's we can decide what it would be. It's long. It's not at my waist because it hangs down a little bit longer. But I'm gonna leave it in your hands.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I'm gonna let the Lord speak to you. On what needs to be done.
Okay, that's fun. I see. It as you said gold flex. I immediately thought of like a dress.
All right. Well, Alishia. I just want to thank you for taking the time to tell us your story about fashion and how your clothes your designs continue to tell stories. You are making an amazing contribution not only to our community, but to this world.
Thank you.
By liberating us and liberating individuals and meeting them at their size, at their shape, and let them know that they too can walk the runway, the red carpet.
Yeah.
And so I just want to applaud you and wish you the best as you continue success in your career.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate that.
Thank you for taking the time.
All right.
This past summer, I had the opportunity to explore the Ruth E. Carter exhibit at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. The exhibit is currently at the African American Museum in Philadelphia. For those who don't know, Ruth E. Carter is a trailblazing, 2-time Academy Award-winning American film costume designer, celebrated for her work in bringing to life the vibrant and cultural rich costumes of Black Panther. Carter made history as the first Black person to win the Academy Award for Best Costume Design, securing Marvel Studios' first Oscar in the process. She repeated this groundbreaking success with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, becoming the first Black woman to win multiple Academy Awards in any category, and the first costume designer to win for both a film and its sequel. Ruth E. Carter's contributions to costume designs are a cultural treasure, preserving history, celebrating identity, and reimagining the future of Black culture on screen and beyond. Let us continue to embrace and uplift our culture through fashion and other modes of expression. I am your scholar and gentleman in a hoodie. Know thy history.